Well, I've come along to Nobles Hospital, the training centre. With me is Zoe, who's come over for the day with victim support. And you've been doing some training. And really, I just want to know what you train on today, because obviously it's victim support. And it's such a big sort of canvas here. You're teaching people who look after this sort of thing. So what have you been doing today?
Okay, I've been training around sex offences, domestic violence, lots of stuff around why victims behave in a way that maybe they wouldn't even understand.
Victims? Behaving differently or uncharacteristically? I mean, how do you explain that?
Well, why wouldn't fight, struggle, scratch, scream, why somebody might just lie there and let a bad thing happen to them. So a whole load of brain science is what I've been talking about.
You can point these things out, can you? And deal with that.
The body does what it needs to do in order to keep itself alive.
How much goes into this? I mean, you know, training-wise, is this it must be such a tricky subject.
It's complex psychological theory, and I guess what I do, and one of the things that perhaps makes me saleable in terms of why people want me to train, is I can take that complex psychological theory and make it relatively simple. So, police officers, victim support workers, lawyers, and depending on what people do, can make some sense of things that maybe they've always wondered. Why somebody would stay with an abusive partner, why somebody wouldn't fight and struggle and scratch and scream if somebody was attacking them, why somebody would go back to an abusive partner. Take complex psychological theory, make it quite understandable.
So you're saying that a lot of victims actually blame themselves to some degree?
Absolutely. One of the diagnostic criteria for post-traumatic stress disorder, guilt's one of the criteria. So absolutely, guilt is something that most people who are traumatised would experience.
The actual people doing the actual abuse, no one can actually hardly spot them, right? I mean, this is the whole problem, isn't it? They blend in.
And if they didn't, they would be rubbish at abusing, wouldn't they? Yeah. If they walk around looking like an abuser, how would they ever isolate people in order to get them in a position where they abuse them? They groom people, but not just the victim. They groom lots of people. They groom people who surround them. They groom society. They groom all of us.
So what sort of people have you been talking to today? Because it's quite a cross-section, wasn't it? People?
Yeah, so victim support, staff, volunteers, there were police officers there, some of the magistrates were there, other professionals, some drug workers, lots of professionals from across the Isle of Man.
I don't know, I mean, your first trip to the Isle of Man, but we have our fair share, I guess, in proportion to these sort of offences. Is there more that can be done to stop it in almost?
There's always more that can be done in terms of prevention, but also in terms of better support, which is of course what victim support do, in terms of better support for people who've been harmed in this way. People
quite often probably put a lid on things that happened in the past. Over time, things have definitely come easier, and there's been this historic cases coming forward. What would you say to people watching this now who have been in that situation?
That something's happened in the past?
Or just any time, I suppose, but you know, particularly something that's been preying on their mind for some time.
I guess for most people, they themselves will know when it's okay to talk. Find the right person to disclose to. I'm never somebody who says they have to report or they have to talk to anybody in an official capacity, but find somebody to talk to. Because the guilt and the shame will often silence people. And guilt and shame, I don't think I've ever met anybody who was abused who didn't feel guilty and ashamed. And I've also never met anybody who was abused who thought other people who were abused had a reason to feel guilty and ashamed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They think they're shameful, they think they've done something wrong. But when you talk to them about other victims, they go, oh gosh, no, it's not their fault. It's one of the symptoms.